I put my boat in at Black Creek, and I'm getting ready for my trip down the Genesee River. This is just to the south of Jefferson Road, and I'll play with the speeds here so that we don't get incredibly bored with 5 mile an hour putting around when there's nothing to see. So I think this is 4X. And we've turned out of Black Creek and into the river. I stop for a moment to make some adjustments, and then we'll be on our way. Wasn't really sure what the speed limit was, but then a guy passes me, so when you're doing what traffic is doing, figure you're probably okay. I think I'm doing about 5 miles an hour here. Keeping the wake real low. And this is along East River Road on the right, and Scottsville Road on the left. There he goes. So I go to full throttle. I can't keep up with him. He just disappears on me. So the video here is sped up 8 times. We're at the Genesee Valley Golf Course on the right. And we're coming up to the 390 bridge. And just beyond that is where the Erie Canal crosses the river. And off to the left there's a tugboat and a barge. You can see, I'll point down here, the Erie Canal off to the east. And on the way back, I'll go down there a little bit. And we got the rowing center on the right. Nope, make that the left. And from the canal north, there's channel markers. South of the canal, there were no channel markers. So here's the U of R's Interfaith Chapel. I got to play the pipe organ there for my high school best friend's wedding. It was a really cool experience. And of course, now on the right and some to the left, we have U of R, University of Rochester. I believe this is one of their pedestrian bridges. It goes to the campus. That boat that passed me, that won't be the last time I'll see him. In fact, he made it to downtown Rochester before I did. So there's the view of downtown Rochester. And here he comes. He was comfortable going outside the channel. This is kind of interesting. Even though I've crossed his main wake, once we get to where there's concrete seawalls on either side, the reflections from the wake he made just continue on, and they don't settle out for a very long time. So we're coming up to the Susan B. Anthony Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge, a bridge with a longer name than the bridge itself. And you'll see that they've put barriers there, so that's as far north as we can go. After that it gets shallow and rapid before the first waterfalls, the high falls. So I don't think we could go over the falls due to the rocks, but wouldn't want to get caught up in that anyway. Alright, this is the first time I'm at actual speed, 1x. I haven't looked up what hotel this is yet, but a lot of people feeling romantic, couples walking up the boardwalk, and then having their picture taken with the bridge in the background. There's this motor catamaran from Illinois tied up to the seawall. Alright, now we're at 16x. Let's make the trip back a little bit quicker. Still getting some of those reflected wakes. It'll smooth out here once we get past the concrete seawalls. This is now 16 times speed. There's the Interfaith Chapel again, now on the left. And I'll go up the east arm of the canal a little bit because I was curious to see, I believe they're flood control gates that I see from the expressway when I'm on my way to the airport. And I just wanted to get a look at those close up. They always seem like boat cleavers to me. And the canal is also very narrow there. At least that's the way it looked from the expressway. So I wanted to see how narrow. So we'll turn up the canal here. And let's speed it up. So here they are. They're not very far from the river. So I assume that if the river floods, they can close these and keep the canal from flooding. They appear to be suspended from 4 massive cables. And I don't know why there's 2 of them. Is it just redundancy? This is in real time now, so you can see I'm not going through very fast. It's pretty much idle speed, maybe just above idle speed. Then after I pass through this, I'll turn around and you can see that even the little bit of disturbance I made in the water keeps reflecting back and forth with concrete walls. Concrete walls just seem like a bad idea. You need to put something in there to break up the reflections, which is of course what they do now with piers. They put those rocks or other structures in so that the reflected wakes get broken up randomly. And after I get under this gate, it widens out, but they've still got concrete walls, so it's still doing this kind of thing. But I'm going to speed it up again. There, no concrete walls, nice and smooth. Now we're looking across the river at the west section of the canal, which I do not go down, but will turn back south and speed things up and head back to Black Creek. There's another boat you might have seen, and he's going to slowly overtake me, so I will actually pull over to the right a little bit and slow down and let him pass me. And here he comes. He slowed down as well. Now this is one of those old shanty-like houses on East River Road, and boy, those look even worse from the water than they do from the road, but it does appear that at least that one is being lived in. It's got all kinds of knickknacks in the window. Alright, and we're back to the creek. Now I was at idle speed here. And you'll see a guy with a boat at the ramp here, and he was just having a really rough day. He said the boat wasn't running well, but trying to pull the boat out of the water, he couldn't get the boat lined up on the trailer. He was doing circles. As I was helping him with that, he got out of the car with the car still in drive, and it started backing into the water with him not in the car. He managed to catch it before it went under, and then I had been holding his boat, but I wasn't going to be run over by his runaway car, so I let that go, and the boat ended up in the middle of the creek. So I used my boat to fetch it again, and then he tried to put the boat on the trailer with his wife in the car, but she almost put the car in the water too, because she thought when it's in drive it can't possibly go backwards. So I had to teach her how to use 2 feet on the pedals to do that. And then his winch was all bound up, and he couldn't get the hook on the boat. And anyway, then he was dragging his lower unit along the ground because he hadn't raised the stern drive. Just having a really bad day. Well, that's it. That's my trip.